What's up, guys? Welcome back to Studio 44 in our show Underdogs. I got a great guy in the studio today. I have been wanting to talk with this guy for months. He should have been my very first show. I'm just going to say it like that. So, guys, welcome to Josh Wilson.
Hey, buddy. It's good to be here.
It is so good to finally have you on the show. I've known you for a long time. I've known of you for even longer. And what's interesting is there's a gap of time that we missed, right? I knew of you in high school, and then there's like, for some reason, there's like this 18, 20-year gap. And I would see you every now and again, but I am so excited to be able to delve into that a little bit because I want to be able to tell your story from the beginning. Like, so can you tell us, where were you born?
I was born in Holy Cross Hospital, November 7th, 1981 in South Florida. Yeah. Long time ago, it feels like.
So back in the day.
Back in the day
Gotcha.
in the hip-hop scene. South Florida.
There you go, South Florida. Now, did you spend a lot of your younger years down there as well?
Yeah. So I would spend my time, I'd go surfing with my buddy Austin and his family, and I'd go to the swap shop. I'd ride my bike or take the bus to the swap shop. That's where Steve-O got his start doing, he worked in the circus. So I'd ride my bike there, watch the circus and hang out, and I'd buy stuff from the circus and from the swap shop, and I'd sell it in school. And I'd ride my bike to the Sawgrass Mall when it was being built. All right. So that's how long it was ago. And like it talks about like growing up as a kid, like I would ride my bike hours to places that, like, if my kids asked me to do that, the answer is no, especially like, yeah, man, it's crazy how much I rode my bike.
So you literally just tapped on like three things that already struck a chord with me. Yeah. So we're going to talk about the kids riding the bikes because we used to ride all over Ocala, and there is no way my daughter would do that. Like it's just not going to happen. Like we'll go together. Like if you want to go riding, we'll go riding together. But let's back up to selling things, because I used to sell stuff in high school. When was this in your life? Like what? Tell me more.
Yeah, elementary school and middle school. So you can't get away with this now, and I believe the statute of limitations has passed, so I can't get in trouble. Allegedly. I knew a guy who's bought and sold stuff in middle school and elementary school. So on the easiest scale, let's start easy, and we'll get into maybe a little bit more risky things that I sold. I would go to the Walmart or Winn-Dixie or whatever the store was back then. I don't even remember. I think it was Winn-Dixie. And I'd buy Bubblicious, the value packs. So they came 5 at a time, 5 pieces per pack. And I'd buy it, and I'd take it to school, and I would sell it for 25 cents for each one.
Oh, wow.
So I would wind up spending like $2.25, and then I would net, I can't do the math, like $5. I think I doubled my money every time or something like that. You guys could like...
Yeah, I was going to say, if somebody wants to do the math separately, you can do the math.
For sure.
Yes.
And I'd always have a pocket full of change, which got me jumped a few times, and I had to learn how to fight to protect my goods. But I did that until competition came on, and then I started selling it for 2 for $25, and then, or you could buy a pack for whatever. And so that was how I got my start in buying and selling stuff. And I'd walk down the road. Here's where it gets a little bit. Do you want me to go more?
Oh, yeah, please.
Yeah. So
please.
I didn't grow up with a lot of money. I grew up in construction with my dad. And if I wanted to make money, I would work on the job site with him, swinging hammers, digging ditches. In South Florida, it was hot. So I grew up working, but he paid me like the crappiest hourly wage ever, where I could go sling stuff in school and make maybe not as much, but it was easy. It was easy money.
Do you think that the way that he paid you, because I used to work in my dad's furniture store, very similar, and the pay was horrible.
Yeah.
But do you think that he did that so that you wouldn't be digging ditches at your age now?
No way. My dad did that because he was cheap with me. This was not a master plan. My dad, I love him. He didn't have that master plan. I was his only and best employee for 25 years. So it was because the alcoholic didn't show up for work that day. And my dad and I would, you met Auntie Ann when she was here.
Yeah.
We, in Sawgrass, we built one of her stores back in the day in like the 90s. So after school, I'd get off and, I'd do my homework. And then that night, like when the mall closed, my dad and I would show up and do work in the middle of the night, and then I'd have to go to school the next day. So he didn't have a master plan. Nobody else would do that crap. And because I was a son and I wanted to hang out with my dad and I liked to make money, I would do that. But we would, do these job sites, and then we would have a trailer full of trash, right? Plywood and concrete and such like that. So what I started doing is I would take the plywood out of the dumpster, and I would sell it to Kevin McCarthy down the road for a skateboard ramp. So I was turning trash into dollars. And so that's another thing I sold. And a long time ago, I used to buy and sell like fake Oakleys, fake Rolexes, even switchblades. So I'd buy a knife or something like that from the swap shop, and then I would sell it in school. You're not supposed to do that. So don't do that, kids.
Good Lord, Josh. Okay. All right. We just got gangster there.
Yeah.
Switchblade. So I sold certain magazines and certain decorator bottles that may have had a liquid in them.
Nice.
Allegedly. So it's interesting how quick you learned about margin, though.
Yeah.
Like, you learned about margin fast. Even your dad, by the way, even though his intentions were different, your dad understood margin.
For sure.
Because he was getting some cheap labor. My dad was the kind of dad that would, like, if you got in trouble, you go dig a ditch, and then he'd tell you to fill it back in, and then you go dig it again.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. So I definitely get you there. So when did you, what happened after, like, high school? Where'd you go?
So we moved up to Ocala in 1996. So here I am from South Florida. I come up to Ocala, 96. Freshman in high school. We moved up here the month before school started, and I weighed 115 pounds or something like that. And I wanted to get involved in, the school, and I thought, the summer was still there, so I joined the football team. And I sat the bench, but I was a hard worker. And so I showed up here in 1996, and I'm wearing board shorts, flip-flops, silk shirt.
South Florida boy.
And people were like, they called me names that you can't use nowadays. And they'd spit their dip on my sandals, and, their big trucks with their big wheels. And I was like, where the hell am I, bro?
Yeah.
So weird. But we moved up here in 96 as a freshman in high school. And, fast forward, I graduated Forest High School, then went to CFCC, the local community college, because I could still work in the family business, help my dad. Went to St. Leo, and, between all of those, went real estate school, and,
Now, see, you've done quite a few things.
Yeah.
Right? And I've had some great conversations with you, and some of the biggest L's in your life have been the biggest lessons to propel you of where you're at today and where you're headed to. So I'd like to know, what do you consider your biggest loss? Your biggest risk and your biggest loss that is really been like that life lesson that may have catapulted you to the direction you're heading in now?
For sure. So I've built, I'm not trying to brag on this, but just to kind of get a frame of reference on like what I did early on in my life. By the age of like 25, I built like $8 million worth of spec homes, and I built $4 million, 3-point-something million dollars worth of, duplexes and triplexes and quads with my dad. I'm the one who brought the investors and syndicated the deals, and I learned about this stuff before I even knew what that was. So early on, I did okay, but the market crashed on me. I didn't know how to structure a deal. I lacked my own self-worth and value, so I self-sabotaged things. And, so I've built stuff. I've been in venture capital. I've been in private equity. I've built, a ton of real estate. I built tons of businesses, built, a bunch of podcast shows, had shows hit iTunes top of charts. I've built 10, sold one. I've coached and consulted for other people and worked alongside billionaires. So I've done a lot. But I've also been bankrupt. I've been on food stamps. I had to work on the back of 2 moving trucks to put diapers on my baby's butts. I've had to go door to door selling, roofs when my visionary, ideas didn't pop off. And I say that because I've had some successes or almost there, but I've had a lot of L's, a lot of losses, a lot of failures, costing me hundreds of thousands of dollars, or, maybe even more, who knows? But the biggest mistake that I ever made, the biggest loss, was I was working as a consultant in Dallas, Texas. I looked like such an idiot, dude. I had cowboy boots, blue jeans, tight black shirt, long hair, sunglasses, like a sports coat. Like I looked like a crazy man, you know, like I can't even believe, like I took Ocala with me to Dallas and I showed up. So like here I am walking around, I'm doing consulting on how to raise capital and how to put deals together and how to sell. And the biggest mistake I made is we had this deal opportunity to go somewhere else. And my wife was like, I don't think it's a good idea. And I pulled the kind of like the submit card and the I know best for our family and such. Like we just started getting traction in our consultancy. And I just saw this opportunity and I ignored just a bunch of signs. And I dragged my family, me, wife, I had my daughter and then a newborn. I dragged her to another part of the country. And it was just, from day one, it just wasn't a good thing. But what I did is I didn't listen to my life partner, my wife, my business partner, everything. And I just didn't listen to her. I ignored her. So that was the biggest mistake I ever made, the biggest loss. Not only did we lose a lot of money, but it took me years to rebuild myself. And it took me years to really build the trust between our relationship because she has better discernment than me. I'm a visionary. I'm sometimes all over the place. And that could have saved us. It could have saved us just so much heartache. It could have saved us so much pain if I just listened to her. So like that was the biggest L in my life forever. And I'll never do that again.
Yeah. And if you think about it, without that lesson, how many more times would you have stumbled?
Today I would have done it 12 more times today because opportunity just like flies at me. And I'm a visionary chasing squirrels sometimes. And I could say yes to everything, but man, yeses sometimes get really expensive.
Coin that one.
Yeah.
Yeses get really expensive.
Yeah.
When I think about that journey, I think a lot about my own relationship now. Like you've literally just synced in. I'm one of those visionaries. I'm one of those. I mean, it's going to sound bad to say pie in the sky or sound like my head's in the clouds, but like we're dreamers. We are meant to create and invent and make things just happen that may have never come to fruition in our lifetime. Having a life partner in my wife, she's very grounded. Very similar to what you're saying right now. And I throw out all these ideas and I'm like, hey, babe, let's go here. Let's do this. And I'm trying to pack, 50 pounds in a 10-pound bag of just go, do. And there's a lot of times she'll be like, babe, why don't we do this and this, but why don't we just kind of hold back and maybe we don't go to that thing on Sunday. Maybe we recharge on Sunday. Now the old me, okay, the in my own head, I'll make all the decisions, Daniel. That guy, he says, no, I'll do what I want. And not just the whole happy wife, happy life thing. Take that totally out of it. Respecting and trusting your wife at a level that you know that she has your best interest in mind. You know that she is going to steer you in the right path as much as she is praying that God's directing you to lead your household. The same exact methodology it comes into play. And I think it's really cool that you got that lesson that way. I've done it wrong for many, many years, and it took finding a partner that was willing to be just as straight up with me. And it's worked wonders. So I'm very, very happy to hear that.
Yeah, that's a good life lesson, man.
Yeah.
That's valuable.
So made some mistakes.
Yeah.
Made some of our own choices.
Yeah.
The moment you get out of your own way, where did life lead you then?
Man, I was humbled big time. So life can humble you, right? So been bankrupt. That was tough because that goes, if someone does a search, Joshua Wilson or whatever, you could pull up the bankruptcy filing. So like no longer could Josh posture. Like I've been on TV and I've been on radio and I've had podcast shows and big audiences and such like that. But like no longer could Josh like hide behind like the fake facade of big audience means success, you know? So that was humbling, but even the prideful Josh could keep running, right? Like I could be bleeding out and people like, oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm great. How's your day? Awesome. Freaking awesome, man. But you know, like at some point you have to go, what am I supposed to learn here? And I spent a bunch of time with coaches and counselors, therapists, and just like trying to do me work. And I thought I was pretty, you know, self-aware. But this thing called pride and ego was just so prevalent in my life. And one day I just chose humility. And that's hard, right? You can't say I'm the most humblest person because immediately you're disqualified in that. But like as soon as I started going, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the opposite approach, because for 40 years it didn't freaking work. So I'm going to try to take a new approach now. My new approach was I'm just going to share everything, or the majority of it stuff. Some stuff is just you got to protect people because people share a lot of stuff with me. But like I'm going to share my stuff. I'm going to talk about my successes, my failures with people I trust. I'm going to open this up to the world. I'm going to write about it. I'm going to talk about it. And I can't still be prideful, still talking about, like how I just lost all my money, or how I had to say sorry to this client and give them their money back, or how I had to do this or that. So I chose, and I'm choosing humility. And that's hard for a Wilson to do. And it's hard for a visionary to do. But the results are like I have better relationships. The clients that I have are just better. I can apologize and they apologize and we can work together and we can work through issues. I've had so many just extend so much grace on me through some hard times, and it's been beautiful. So I chose humility through these things. So that kind of that turning point that you're asking about was like, life threw a bunch of humbling things at me, but I still kept on trucking through. It was the time where I was just like, you know what? I need to just show up as I am and stop posturing for people that I don't even like, and just be real for myself. When I look in the mirror, I want to be the same dude that I feel inside. I want to be aligned with who I am and what God's called me to be. So I think that was a turning point, and it's recent, man, maybe a couple years, 2 to 3 years. Like this isn't I haven't been doing this for 10 years and here's how I mastered it. No, man, this is new, but it's good.
Isn't it interesting that when life stops being transactional and it starts being relational, how much better your quality of life is? You're no longer, and we just talked about this recently, but you're no longer just happy, but you truly have joy. Sometimes for the first time. Because happiness can hide behind a smile. Mm-hmm. Happiness can hide behind the clothes you're wearing or the car you drive. It can be, you can be in debt up to your eyeballs and act like you're happy. But for some reason, joy, and EJ, my friend EJ is the one that said this to me the other day. He says, I don't want to just be happy. I want to be joyous. I want to just show joy at all times. And what's interesting is you can't hide joy. You can't hide joy behind a mask. Like true joy is going to show in every part of your character. Mm-hmm. And the relationships that you get yourself into, whether it's business, personal, whatever, like you just go to a different level. There's a whole different place reserved for those type of relationships. I pose this question a lot of times is, who are you willing to break bread with? Mm-hmm. That's a big deal for me. A lot of people go to lunches and all that. Like I will no longer make a 12-minute meeting 1 hour, right? I want to be very mindful of my time. The only goal, what's the only reason we left the house today? Go do something crazy, make money, earn money, and come right back to the house. I'm sure you'd rather be with your wife and kids right now, and enjoying something of today. You're out here doing the same thing that I'm doing. We're trying to make a difference in the world, earn $1 while doing it that's moral, ethical, and honest, and go right back to the house. because I'm telling you, I'm not lazy, but I do not mind kicking my feet up and just snuggling with my girls and watching Peter Pan and Wendy. You know what I mean? So, what does your future based here in Ocala look like?
Yeah. What does the future look like? If I had my way, you and I would be celebrating like 5-year anniversary of you asking me that question. And I think we would be sitting here talking about the people we have invested in and the people that life has changed because of our input. At the end of the day, man, real estate, cars, assets, they come and go. And, you know, in my story, they could go really quickly. But the people, the relationships, like I love it when someone like reaches out and they're like, hey, you know, you said this, like a charity I work with, I'm an advisor for. Man, he pulled me aside and he goes, Josh, that one thing you told me, you talk a lot, Josh, but that one thing you told me, man, it changed us. It made us sustainable and scalable. Like it was a game changer. And that wasn't, in my mind, that wasn't even the smartest thing that I said. But, you know, like, I think like whose life we've impacted and the kind of work that we do. And if we could help others make money and do things that we're created to do, like in our zone of genius, like if we're doing that, man, that's good. And it brings me so much joy and purpose and fulfillment. So like 5 years out, I want to be doing the same thing, except I'd like to have a little bit more support in some of this, the shit work that I suck at, you know?
Yeah. I'm with you there. There are many things that I do not like to do.
Yeah.
And I'm doing my best to find great people that I can surround myself with to fill those gaps.
For sure.
Because I can't go there alone. I can't go there, and it means nothing. It's not material. It's literally that true place of joy that I want to operate in, because I know that if we go to that level, we will have gotten there by bringing as many people with us as possible. So love every bit of that. So before we close here, I want you to be able to look in that camera and tell this audience a motto, a mantra, a quote, something you live by, something to inspire or motivate them for more. What would you say that is?
Yeah, let me think on that for a minute.
Yeah.
Man, I think for the younger Josh, for the visionaries out there, for the dreamers, the pie in the sky, for people like us who are out there cranking, you know, we want to be we want to build something for ourselves to hand to our kids one day or to sell it or whatever the case may be. Like, man, I've been in so many different fields and I've had a lot of failures, a lot of losses in my life. I've switched jobs more than most people, and I've chased so many things. Right? Chasing to find who I am, chasing to find my purpose in this life, chasing to figure out like, how did God make me and what am I supposed to do? So like, man, I think the advice or the motto or the thing that I think was helpful for me as a dude to try to find my way are these few questions that I ask myself, right? And I've got it tattooed on my arm, like, who am I? I think that's a good one, but that's not the first question. I think you got to really, to me, this is for me and maybe for some of you, but like, got to really understand, like, who's God, right? Is there a greater power? If so, what does that even look like? And for me, it's a guy named Jesus, right? He created us and he loves us and he cares for us. And because I know and I'm learning more about my God, I can learn how was I created and why was I created this way and what's the meaning there. So the more I become aligned in my belief system, the better my life becomes aligned with my purpose and my vision. So like, these are the questions I ask. It's like, who is God? Who am I? Right? We could go through strengths and weaknesses and what am I supposed to do in life and such like that. But like, who is God? Who am I? Who am I called to serve? I think a lot of guys, when I coach men, they come to me and they go, what should I do with my life? And I go, okay, let's start here. Who's God? Who are you? Like, what do you like to do? What do you want to do? What are you good at? Who are you called to serve? Like, who do you want to break bread with every day? Like, why not choose the people? Why not choose your clients? Why not choose the people you want to hang out with every day? Then you start figuring out, what do I do for them? That's, like the hedgehog principle. That's like, I'm good at it, makes money, and, the world needs it. Right. And then the last question is like, why am I doing that? Every once in a while, put in that check in there where you could kind of circle back around and go, why the hell am I doing this? Like, have you ever done something every day and you're like, why am I doing this? Well, that's the way we've always done it. Well, put a why in there so you could like put that check. You know, Simon Sinek, I think he's wrong. He says start with why. I think you should end with why. And I think you should start on your belief systems. It's like figuring that out, I think helps you find alignment and purpose in your life. Wow, I just went on a soapbox, brother.
No, that was a good soapbox.
Thanks, man.
Dude, I appreciate every single bit of that. I love hearing just a piece of your underdog story. There's so much more. To Josh, I'm telling you right now, there's a part 2, a part 3, a part 4, and a part 5, and then beyond. So I'm looking forward to that 5-year mark. I'll tell you that.
Let's do it.
So thank you again for coming on Underdogs. I hope you had a great day. Thank you guys to y'all that are watching. And remember that love wins, period.